What up, YouTube fam? I want to thank y'all for tapping in with me for a little bit. I want to talk about this here. This is crazy. It just seems like nowadays, man, you cannot trust nobody. You know, in the public eye, these two guys, it seemed like they was thick as thieves. Now, it's stuff coming out that Dirk has something to do with King Von being taken out. Like they said that he or otfvonnie, one of his associates, one of them, they ended up giving lultimm the bag, meeting up and giving him a bag to do what he did to King Von. And the cold thing about it is it's otfvonnie's daddy that's saying this stuff. He's saying a lot of stuff. And I was listening to DJ Academics. Shout out to him too. I was listening to the record where he was talking to otfvonnie's daddy, and I could have swore, I'm done. Now don't quote me on this, but I could have swore I heard him say that one of the reasons why Dirk paid for this thing was because Von was getting ready to surpass him. He was actually getting ready to become the superstar. And and Dirk then, he wasn't feeling that because he brought Von in. He like, well, dang, how he gonna pass me? I brought him in. I showed him everything. So I think I heard that. And then also uh I've heard that um Dirk took him out because he made a statement on him and he knew it was gonna come out eventually. So I mean, it's a lot of stuff that's being put out all over the YouTube about these two guys. I mean, they was like in the public's eye, they was like thick as thieves. Um, but I don't know. I just want to tell you, do y'all remember? Do y'all remember? I don't know if anybody watches No Jumper Adam 22, but y'all remember when Bond was on there and he said this about them two being together.
But isn't you and Dirk your probation or whatever is such that you're not supposed to be associating with other people who are part of the case? So is it like a thing where you're not supposed to be around each other?
Yeah, so yeah, me and Dirk, we only see each other like at court if we got court or some shit.
So even when you're on tour, you can't really be around each other too much?
Nah, we can't. Nah, hell nah.
Damn, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that shit ugly.
Is that strange? Like just to have the court basically just saying you can't be cool with one of your best friends?
Yeah, because it's like I started shit off with him. Like he started it up for me and everything. Like how people get to noticing me shit. Like he bringing me to his interviews and pulling up a chair right here and letting me sit right there.
Right.
Like even though it's just like it's supposed to say if he came No Jump, he'd have a chair right here for me. You be like, what the fuck going on?
Right.
Nah, this is my artist. You see what I'm saying?
But all that stuff is out for right now, which is unfortunate.
That's what I'm saying. So they just say we caught the case and they removed me for everything. Like in all my shows, I only was having shows because of Dirk.
Right.
Like he pulling me on his shit. You see what I'm saying? So I'm only going places with Dirk. I'm only doing. So now it was time to. They put the case. You can't be around Dirk no more. You can't move. So now I was only in the studio with Dirk. I was on it. So now it's do everything on your own. You just gotta do it. So I just gotta.
It's crazy because I was reading an article that just came out in I think Billboard, and they were like, "Yeah, we met King Von last year because Dirk was coming through doing his promo run, and you were just kicking it, watching, observing, and shit." And they're like, "And now a year later, he's here and he's the star of the show." That's got to be kind of a crazy feeling, huh?
Okay, so they couldn't be together. Well, that was a part of his probation rules or whatever you want to call it. He could not interact with Dirk any kind of way. They couldn't do anything. Only time they could see each other was in court. They couldn't go on tours. They couldn't make no music together. They couldn't do nothing. So he was saying, man, he was left all, just all alone. He had to figure it out on his own, and he did. And I guess that's when he started making, that good music. He didn't have nothing else to do, so he was just sitting at the crib writing rhymes, and then somebody came, gave him them dope beats, and he came out hard. And I guess Dirk didn't like it, but I'm not gonna talk too much on it right now. We're gonna watch this video and chop it up on the other side. Let's go.
well, God will, I hope the money came back to him. Von's money paid for his own murder.
That is crazy.
That's crazy. Hopefully it got recouped later on. But his own money paid for his murder.
Hey, shout out to Hookah Anonymous. Y'all go check out his content. He dropped some good videos.
Alright, y'all. I guess since the cat is out the bag now, I guess we could speak on this, man. Now, the information that a lot of y'all are now hearing is information that we've known months ago. I think towards the end of April to be exact, but out of respect for who gave us the information, I didn't put it out there for their personal reasons. However, it's out now, and even though it's a whole lot more to the story and a whole lot of more receipts, we're just gonna focus on what y'all know, and I'll expose a few things later on as well that will make sense and line everything up with each other with what we've been saying since the past. Now, before we even start, right, the only problem I have is the fact that if y'all remember when we first started speaking on Von's passing being sketchy and something not making sense, the same people who were saying that it's all lies, conspiracy theories, they're crazy and etc., well, suddenly now they're out here making conspiracy theory content. How ironic. And here's the thing, it's not about clout, attention, views, or none of that. The sole purpose of this was to expose the weird stuff that go on in that industry. It's deeper than just King Von. This is what happens in that industry, period, and we first started out exposing that to show it, and Von's demise just so happened to be entangled with the same thing that we were talking about. But let's not forget, there's a lot of weird passings that don't make sense that we've spoken on, including Pop Smoke, Nipsey Hussle, Mo 3, Young Dolph, YBC Duel, the list goes on. So some of you only know the Von part because that's who y'all are in tune with, but it's deeper than just Von. And it's sad to say, Von was just a number, unfortunately. The problem is, they didn't know who he was spiritually. Now I've seen Remo and No Jumper speak with Mickey Truth, and shout out to her. And they say things like, whoever's saying this must be on dope, whoever's saying this must be clout chasing, want attention, making things up for a come up. No, this isn't something you do for a come up. There's real people out there that knows the weird stuff that goes on in that industry, and whenever you have someone that come with receipts about it, you have the people that don't understand it trying to sway the narrative. But anyway, shout out to Gyla, aka Miss G, aka Top Hat, because if y'all remember, aside from us, she was the only one that was calling this out a very long time ago. And every time something pertaining to Von come up, I'ma always shout her out because y'all need to know where this all came from. Now I was on YouTube doing it, she was on Facebook, but I was doing it more in the physical where I was just stating what I observed. On the other hand, Gyla was more surgical with it because she was doing it from a spiritual standpoint. But here's the difference. She was predicting what was going on and what would happen before it did, and guess what? Everything she said would come to pass did. Remember when she told y'all Von was going to start moving like Jimmy Bones and he wanted revenge on everybody that did him wrong? Well, fast forward to 2025, how's that been going? The whole oblock has basically crumbled, so have OTF, Durk is in jail, Bezu is nowhere to be found, and Duke is no longer here. But speaking of Duke, remember when Gyla tried to warn Duke, told him to be careful? He called her crazy, and now look. But anyway, let's get into these audios since the cat is out the bag. I told y'all I've been sitting on these audios for a minute. Out of respect, I kept them, but it's out.
So, Von wasn't the only one that passed away that night. You had Slutty and it was somebody else that passed away. So, all those guys that was hit up, passed away, got injured. Those were all King Von's partners. They was from the block. Durk wasn't from the block. So was he just like, all right, this is casualty of war. Hey, you in the way, you gonna get hit. I don't really know you. You ain't my people. So, if you get hit, you just get hit. And then the way all this stuff is playing out, the way it was, did they have some people from the city of Atlanta, in on it. Some of the police officers, the DA, something like that. They all had to know some part, or they had to play some part in it for it to go down the way it did. The way this otfvonnie's father is speaking, it just seems like everybody was in on this. Everybody except for Von. Von didn't not expect. Von didn't know, and then Slutty he passed away. They said he got took out by uh, a police officer. But the weird thing about it, and this guy's gonna mention it, is that all the bullets that was inside of Von that they found, they was from several different guns. So who else was letting them go that night besides the police and lultimm? So this is like some deep, serious stuff, especially if all this is true.
So we're going to get into that and a few other things that haven't been exposed that you guys don't know. But before we do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm. And if you not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get in.
He was like that. He was like that, but by taking me with him, I got a photographic memory. We in the middle of a transaction. All the way out to Silver with my son. Come on, let's go. Me, my son, and his fake cousin or whoever he is, fast he driving. Son, come on, give me a pistol, whatever. So I don't know what we're in the middle. I ain't finna ask no questions. Come on, let's go. And then lultimm, we on the side of the highway. Lultimm come flying. I'm gonna show you the text message too. I text lultimm because he did the interview acting like he like that. And you ain't like that. I was there when you ran from the police on the four-wheeler. Same day you bagged in next to Suburban.
Okay, so he said that was his dad. Said he text lultimm, and it says, "Don't act like you like that. I was there when you backed in next to the Suburban. Same day you was running from the police on the four-wheeler to get the bag for Vine. Don't get stepped on. The only reason cuz don't get stepped on because he Muslim. You not Muslim." And then it say something else, but it's covered up with this here. I think he ended up calling him a coochie. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say what it is, but I believe he called him that. So I don't know, man. He said that he texts. This was otfvonnie's dad texting lultimm, the biggest op. You see that?
Ain't got the bag for mine. The only reason cuz them don't get stepped on because they Muslim.
Oh, there you go.
I texted him on Instagram. He ain't never responded back. I'm gonna send it to you and show you what I sent him. So he gonna know 100 people, 100% facts that I was there. Because the same day you was running from the police, and you bag next to the Suburban, you in a pickup truck, and they gave you a duffel bag full of money. You know what I'm saying? This is in April 2020, being killed to November 6th. So my son thinking that I ain't gonna remember because I'm back in Chicago.
Now, speaking of otfvonnie, right? There's a lot of things people don't know about Vonnie. People don't know that it was an attempt on his life before him and the OTF guys were arrested. Before he came back to Chicago, where he was grabbed up by the feds, he was staying in Atlanta and shared an apartment with T Styles, the girl that's a stylist and friends with Cardi B. Somehow, some way, he was in a vehicle where gunmen began shooting and hit the car 26 times, and he wasn't hit at all. But however, that's not the only thing that played a part when him coming back to Chicago, because they was already aware that the feds were coming, which is another reason why they were back in Chicago.
Came back to Chicago within the last couple months before they got locked up. You know what I'm saying? He with the broad T Styles, and he snaked out, did some snake shit to her. And,
Which T Styles?
The T Styles that be with Cardi B. The T Styles that you could get.
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he was for her, and he snaked out. She went somewhere, moved her furniture out the crib, had somebody steal a jewelry, did everything. Snake.
God
Did all that. So, but look how I was with him. So I asked a lot of people to protect my daughters and protect my sons. I got it, you know what I mean? And guess what? They cried on my watch from when I was ignorant. Would make me not be able to have to cry. You know what I'm saying? So it's just what it is. So I got shot up 26 times. He ended, not a bullet mother touched him.
That's crazy.
Not a bullet touched him.
So he's saying that somebody else they was trying to get at his son. some people, I don't know who it was, but he's saying this thing saying the K, but he said the car that otfvonnie was in, was supposed to be in, got hit up 26 times, but not one bullet touched him. So I mean, I don't understand what that is. That could just be a fluke. I mean, because once you start letting that thing go, bullets don't have no name on it. I mean, it can miss you or it can hit you. You know, so I don't know what he's trying to say in this little part right here.
Times, not a bullet touched him. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not a bullet touched him, you know what I mean? So he got up out of Atlanta, had been playing Chicago, and, you know, one day we standing in front of my crib. I said, man, what greater test can a man have? He said, what's that? He said, what's that? I said, his own son, take him to go pay for his nephew's hit. Tears didn't fall from his eyes, but they watered up. They watered up, they ain't fall, you know what I mean? What greater test can a man have? Yeah. You understand me dealing with this, you know what I mean? He took me to pay for this, could have left me at home. But like my man says, you know why he took you with him? You weren't gonna let nothing happen to him. If the was a back door, finna rob him for the bag and woo-woo and kill him, then you know you was gonna get out. That's why he took you with him. That's why he took you with him. He didn't think you was gonna remember, but that's why he took you with him. That's exactly why. You know what I'm saying? He know you gonna get.
So I believe this picture that they keep posting, that's I think what's his name, Slim or something like that. It wasn't Slim, it was something, but that was KINGVON's daddy and otfvonnie's daddy in this picture right here. I can't remember the name, KINGVON's dad. It was something like that, Slim or something, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's why he could have left me at home. That's why he took me with him. How about that's why he took you with him. How about to say, out of all that, like you said, you could have left me home. Yeah, left me at the crib. And I'm in the area, I don't know nothing. Come on, Pops, let's go. Me blinking anything, but like I said, my man said that's why he took you with him. You know you gonna go. And you peeping, you see everyone.
Let's break something else down for y'all. The club that KINGVON and them went to that night he passed away, do anybody knows who owned the club? Well, allegedly, the club that KINGVON and them was at the night he passed was owned by 21 Savage's uncle. Now remember, 21 Savage said that he's the one that got the call first about Von passing, and he knew before Lil Durk. He says him and Lil Durk was at a bowling alley together in Houston. He got the call from the club, and he didn't want to tell Lil Durk, which sounds kind of crazy. But he didn't want to tell Durk, but 5 minutes later, he seen Durk run out the bowling alley, so he said, damn, he must have found out.
Night happened. Me and Durk at the bowling alley, because we was all in Houston and shit, so we at the bowling alley. I got the call probably 2 minutes after it happened, no exaggeration. The club right there, that's like my uncle. So he called me, but I'm thinking he done did some, because they weren't kicking it like he got shot. They were kicking it like he shot somebody. But then goddamn, he called back and was like, nah, he got shot too. I ain't even want to tell Durk, so I ain't even say nothing to Durk. But then goddamn, about 5 minutes later, Durk just like left about the goddamn bowling alley like fast. I was like, damn, he just found out. I ain't want to tell.
Now keep in mind, this could either be true and Durk knew about Von being shot before we seen him all live, or
so this part right here is where they saying this is where Durk found out. Okay, so we're gonna go and watch this thing. I want to see the expression on Durk's face. I want to see if, because the expression tells that everything. We're gonna go watch that little clip and look and see if he found out through his fans, because you can see at clear as day where a lot of people were saying he's on live. I guess after he left the bowling alley where 21 Savage was, but it says Von got shot. Everybody's saying that, and then he gets out the live. He kind of looks like crazy, it look like it's stunned. So let's go watch that real quick, then we'll jump back to this video.
Bitch, I'm really icy. Who shicey, that's my dog. But who you know I'm really shicey. You told all the OT niggas that you really slide. Tell the truth about your game, bitch, I really had.
Bitch, I got my own fight on this security in the club. All they wolfing on the neck, nigga, I thought you was a thug. I ain't got nowhere to go, I shot up everywhere they was. You know who took this shit from you, come get it back in blood. Brr, brr, bitch, come get it back in blood. We ain't masked up no.
So now you see what I'm saying? I mean, his expression, it was kind of like it stunned him. He kept saying, it. So he was like, you know, it looked like he was like, well, hell, man, let me jump out this live and make some calls or something to see what's going on. You know, is this all cap or is this real? You know what I mean? It don't look like he knew. He already knew. It looked like he had just found out. So
He lied, and Dirk was on live and found out really how Vaughn was shot, just how everybody assumed when he was looking at the messages as he got off live, right? I'll let y'all figure that one out. Now also, what a coincidence they say 21 Savage bought King Von's sister Kayla a new Range Rover after everything transpired, simply because he just wanted to because she dated his cousin. But if y'all remember, when Kayla being Mona Lisa, who's affiliated with King Von and his other sister and cousin Balo, she would expose Kayla B on Twitter as she would say, quote, "You got other issues to worry about than me. Tried to lie and say Lil Harold or Savage got you a car when Dirk paid you off for the snake ish you did. F out of here." Now Von's sister Kay will also chime in during that back and forth as she would say, quote, "I'm not arguing with no prosty or B-word that got paid off." Now speaking of the car Kayla got, y'all check this out.
My son FaceTime me. He at the Range Rover dealership. Right? My mama sharp as hell. I'm sharp. I get my sharpness from my mama. So my son at the Range Rover dealership, you know, I'm telling her what's going on. But she, you know, her grandson, she ain't trying to hear that. Ooh, you know. So she say, he tell me, I say, he at the Range Rover dealership, man. 21 Savage about to buy Kayla a Range Rover. My mama said it wasn't out my mouth in 2 seconds. And I'm saying it like it's the truth. You understand me? I'm saying it like it's the truth. It wasn't out my mouth 2 seconds. She said he ain't buying it, he buying it. Like 21 ain't buying it, K-Von buying it. It wasn't out my mouth 2 seconds. I'm saying it like it's the truth, you feel me? Like I'm sorry. Like I said, she called it. I'm repeating to her, 21 finna buy Cadillac Range Rover. I'm saying this like it's the truth, you understand me? It ain't out my mouth 2 seconds. He ain't buying it, he buying it. And then guess what? I had to check her too. Exactly. I had to check her. I said, because it ended up coming out on YouTube, the 21 ordered a Range Rover, right? Later on, it come out on YouTube that he ordered a Range Rover, right? She said, "Oh, I guess he did." I said, "Mean what you saying, say what you mean. You said what you meant at the first time. Don't do it up, because they got to paint the narrative that this will happen." You put me in my proper place. You put me in my proper place and told me he ain't bad, it ain't out my mouth 2 seconds. Now they put a video out to support their mind, and now you saying, yeah, come on.
Now it's also a coincidence that it was rumors floating around that allegedly, in the past, King Von happened to rob 21 Savage cousin. Allegedly. Now I'm not saying what's right and what's wrong. All I'm doing is trying to show y'all what's been put out there, and I want to know from y'all what makes sense and what don't. Simple. Now speaking of the club, what if I told y'all that the club was illegally open and was supposed to be shut down due to a previous shooting that happened there before? How was a club that was illegally open was secured by off-duty Atlanta police? Why would a lounge or club that's supposed to be shut down even operating? Shouldn't the police be aware and shut it down? Well, here's a document proving that the club was supposed to be shut down, but I guess it wasn't.
So you see his public record that the place was illegally open. And that's the thing, my son called me and it just all clicked back. He like, "Man, the place where we having the after party at, it's closed down, something. I said, "Shit, have it somewhere else." You know what I'm saying? So he thinking this whole thing is throwed off. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, because he already planned, he planned the place and everything, you understand? And him, quandorondo, and then Von is texting back and forth, he talking to him, all you do is put them at the same place at the same time, and then the manager, if we can't take our guns in the club, but Slutty wasn't going, I'm gonna make sure folks get in the club first before we put our pistols up, you know what I'm saying? Just so happened his gun jammed.
Now remember when Grandbaby was on live with his mother Kayla B, and he said, quote, "Y'all did something to my uncle."
You miss Bond? You miss Bond?
Yes, do you miss one?
Yeah. You funny you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at my video, guys.
But I miss my uncle because y'all did something bad to my uncle.
Now we knew that was a dead giveaway because why would a child say something like that? And why would he say his mother did something wrong to her own brother? Well, here's a picture of Vonnie and another guy by the name of Fats, who y'all heard of in the text message that was exposed recently, and they were talking about something. Now I'm not saying they were talking about doing anything to Von here, but But this picture just goes to show that grandbaby was very much around and was able to hear a lot of things that maybe they didn't think he was comprehending, which also may have been the reason why he was able to say, y'all did something bad to my uncle.
Talking about uncle, this, that, nothing with grandbaby. Grandbaby never met Vaughn's father. Grandbaby never met Vaughn's father. True, which is Vaughn's story. She called me Papa. You understand? Grandbaby didn't know me, so he asked Vaughn, and I asked Papa. He said, yeah, I'm his grandfather. You understand? But me and Vaughn's daddy are not blood related. You know what I mean? But it's what it is. We've been together since we was 2 years old. We have been just together since we was 2 years old. So he asked me, that's my Papa. So if you listen to the thing, my son's birthday is April 1st, okay? So it started 4-1 when he said, y'all did something to my grandpa, y'all did something to my uncle. You don't have to do nothing to my grandpa. I'm his grandpa. But guess what? But listen, I'm his grandpa. He never met Silver, which is Ron's dad. You understand? My son picked him up from school every day. He looked around him every day. His eyes is closed, but his ears are open. So God forbid he on a Bluetooth or whatever. But he was real sharp. And he put everything in that same clip. I got that clip the day I put Vaughn in the ground. The day I buried Vaughn is the day I went on YouTube and I found that clip. But he said, y'all did something to my uncle and da-da-da. Same thing. And then on that same tape, 911 is in 9/11. That's when he said, you miss Vaughn? She said, yeah, Miss Vaughn. She said, Vaughn, you miss Vaughn? She said, yeah, but you can see this thing in her face. This thing in her face. He said, why? Why? And he killed him. You know what I'm saying? Because he know he ain't stupid. The little boy sharp. You understand? Sharp. He loves him.
Well, now let's talk about the security that night. How about we talk about King Von's security, Big Country, who was told he wasn't going to secure for Vaughn that night, and he was only made into a driver, which is why he wasn't able to have his weapon that night. But ask yourself, why would they take him from being a security guard and make him a driver only, specifically that night? That same security is currently locked up for protecting young Maul, who was his client, who he had to shoot multiple people trying to protect his client for, which was young Maul. So it just goes to show that whoever, quote unquote, made him into a driver that night knew what they were doing, because they knew he wasn't going to go for anything happening to Vaughn while he was security. Keep in mind, he was also Dirk driver initially as well, allegedly.
Vaughn's driver, which was Big Country. Dirk sent the bullet. Is that the African? That's the which one's the African? No. Listen, African is regular driver. Look, I never met Big Country in my life. Listen, show you how God work. I never met him in my life. He come to the mansion because he drive Dirk to the mansion so Dirk can say something for her mama. He said, no, I'm sorry. Give my condolences to me. He said, I'm sorry. I was deactivated as a guard and I was only a driver that night. And I got the paperwork to show Big Country locked up for protecting young Maul. If he had been on point, them niggas would have got killed. This, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? So the dude, Dirk, sent his bulletproof truck, deactivated him as a guard. He was only a driver that night.
This is why we were all asking what was wrong with Vaughn's security that night, because it seemed like he didn't have no security. Clearly, it seemed like he was fending for himself. And if you even pay attention to the whole video from that night, you can see it seemed like it was a setup for Vaughn to be in the middle of the street. Now that sounds crazy, but Vaughn's father was unalived by a sniper who was never ever identified and never ever caught. No suspect was ever caught for the unaliving of King Von's father, Silk. The way Vaughn passed away, we could almost think the same, because the way he was shot so many times and had different caliber shells in him according to the autopsy, sounds as if he was hit from multiple people. We were told it was police, we were told it was lultimm, but our eyes would tell us we couldn't see who it was in the video. lultimm admitted his weapon jammed after a while, as we seen in the video. So where did the other shots come from that all hit Vaughn? How quandorondo wasn't hit at all? And for the millionth time, how was everyone with Vaughn shot, including him? Meanwhile, the person who actually fired the first shot wasn't. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's it for now. It's a lot more, but we're gonna drop different videos.
All right, so shout out to Hookah Anonymous. You know, it's a lot of questions. It's just some of the stuff lines up and some of it don't. And, you know, why? At first, you know, I thought maybe 21 was trying to do something nice for his sister after Vaughn passed, but why would he? I'm thinking, why would he buy her a Range Rover what part did she play in this? What part did 21 play in it? I mean, they said it was his uncle's club. The club was supposed to be closed down. It wasn't supposed to be open for business due to another shooting that happened there. So they now they opened up this club. They did some type of little thing there, and they put those two together. But how did they know that Vaughn would react the way he did if he seen Quando? What if he would have just passed Quando and just said, "What's up?" through the deuces and kept walking to go in the club? How did he know? How did they know Vaughn was gonna act like that? See, that it just don't make sense to me. I don't understand it. I mean, how did they know Vaughn was gonna do what he did for them to get that moment for lultimm to do what he did, and then you have you have different, multiple and different bullets that was found in Vaughn. So who else was doing the shooting besides the police and lultimm? You know, Slutty, his life, somebody took his life. So no, all those guys was just blind to everything. They didn't know what was going on. Everybody in that group that Vaughn was with, um, maybe the one guy that walked over because they said it was somebody in Vaughn's crew that walked over and said, "Hey, Quandorondo was over there sitting in that car." So maybe he knew what was finna go down, because no, from here, from when it happened all the way up until now, we still don't know which homeboy told Vaughn that Quando was sitting in that car. I mean, a lot of people has been interviewed, and well, I don't know. Maybe other people know, but I don't know. But I've seen a lot of people being interviewed, and nobody's ever said who was the person that told Vaughn that Quando Ronda was right there, and who I thought they said that Vaughn was the one that made the last minute decision to go to this club. So if Vaughn didn't know that Quando Ronda was there, I just don't understand it. How could that be a setup? I mean, how could they get Vaughn to go over there unless the person, again, unless the person that told Vaughn that Quando Rondo was sitting in that car was the one that said, "Hey man, it might have it's another party. It's going down over here." Da 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 da. And then Vaughn was, "Okay, cool. Let's pull up. Let's see what it is." You know, I don't know, but some of the stuff is making sense, but a lot of it is not making sense. You know, especially with the his sister getting gifted a new Range Rover from 21, and just like in this video, he said that Vaughn had supposedly robbed 21 Savage's cousin. So why would 21 Savage gift Vaughn's sister a Range Rover? Unless it was something going down, it was something that was going down, like this M for hire, or paying somebody got paid for a hit, whatever you want to call it. But dude say he gonna drop hookah. Shout out to your boy again. Once again, appreciate you making this video. He said he's gonna drop some more vids when some more information come out. I guess he gonna verify what he got, or if you know he gets some more information, he gonna drop some more vids, and I'm gonna try to stay on it, because this is like very interesting. This is like very very interesting. I don't, and it's kind of confusing because, like I said, a lot of this stuff lines up, makes sense, but then you go back and be like, well, why did this and this and that? It don't make sense, and then it makes a little bit of sense, and then it makes a lot of sense. As you know what I'm saying. Y'all feel me? But hey, you guys let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. I want to jump back in here real quick. And I want to say rest in peace to this young brother, man. He was really talented. And I want to say to all the other young brothers, man, put the guns down. And he seemed like he was a really good dude. Like he was trying to take care of the people, take care of the folks in oblock. Say like he just didn't mind sharing his wealth, and that's pretty hard to find. You know, I don't. I hate that he lost his life, man. Rest in peace to KINGVON, and it's terrible, man, to see all our young brothers just going away, man. Either they getting backdoored or it's behind some female or it's just something or just over some internet beef. You know, we losing too many of our young brothers, man, and a lot of them are like very talented. So I mean, I just would like to say, please put the guns down, man, and focus on your craft, man. Make your money. You get older, make your money, get yourself set up, get married, have children, and enjoy life, man. Let all this unnecessary beef just leave it alone, because we're actually doing exactly what these people want us to do. They want us to kill ourselves. You like old boy said in Boys in the Hood. They want us to kill ourselves, and that is true. But rest in peace to KINGVON, man, and I appreciate you guys rocking with me, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Who we gon' hang with now? Man, this nigga dangerous now. He might end up taking me out. He might end up taking me down. Won't feel safe if he around. Ronin ain't gon' like how this sound. Cause bitch, you came up on the ground. You get hit with that tech if you foul. Just be quiet, cause these niggas loud. Man, I don't know why he told. That boy was realer than the bitch, man, I don't know how he folded. He coulda hit them with the script, but he ain't sugarcoated. He told him what he told him. That was my brother, he broke. Gotta act like I don't.